What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 380. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, man, there's not really that much news once again. It's been really dry in these streets. However, there is 50 Cent drama as usual, Cameron, Jim Jones drama, which I'll get into a little bit later. Some Lil Durk trial news, and of course, 6ix9ine turning himself in. Before we get into that, though, I got another 50 Cent repost, which was really cool. I think 4 50 Cent reposts in like a week and a half. It was the Campbell's thing where he made a video about like clowning Campbell's, which is really cool, man. To see 50's active on my page, seeing what I'm doing. Now it's very clear, as clear as day, that he's watching what I'm doing. So be prepared, man. I think 2026, actually I know, I'm not even going to say I know 2026 is the 50 Cent interview. If I do get that interview, I want to make it clear to 50 that it has to be a proper interview. I don't want it to be just, generic questions because you guys expect more from me when it comes to that interview. A lot of people are expecting more from me when it comes to that interview because of, me knowing his career. So that will be the ultimatum. When the interview happens, there needs to be a special treatment for this interview. Not because I'm special, but because it's just what my content is, how much I know, needs to be treated differently than just an average, interviewer or journalist who knows about 50, knows some of his career, but doesn't know like every single detail. There's certain different levels of, for example, like if somebody were to bring me Taylor Swift, right, to do an interview, I don't really know Taylor Swift's career like that. So to me, like, I wouldn't expect her to spend 2 hours of her time because the conversation I wouldn't know too much about her. I'd do some research before I interviewed her, obviously. But, this is different where, like, I know 50's career. I've watched him my whole life. He's inspired me to do what I do, and so on and so forth. So that's the ultimatum with that when I do land the interview, because it's more than likely going to happen anytime here soon. But, yeah, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I'm working on that's why there's been, all the podcasts didn't have those episodes and so on and so forth. And, I promise, hey, to do these lists and I don't do them. It's just because those lists take time. It's something I have to dedicate time to, listen to all these albums. I want to do that Kanye West album list. I want to do a 50 Cent album ranking. I'm going to redo the Eminem one. I'm going to do a few album rankings pretty soon here. This would have been a good time where there's barely any news. It would have been a perfect way to fill in the rest of the podcast with, but I just haven't had that time, man. It's been really unfortunate. But a lot of things has happened behind the scenes. So I just want you guys to know that a lot is happening, and it's going to be really, really cool to see down the line. You guys are really going to enjoy the stuff that I'm working on. But yeah, let's get into the news. Lil Durk's murder for hire trial has been delayed. There you go. So it's not happening this month. It would have been crazy to see, but it's not a surprise, man. These things, they always get delayed. They never happen when they're supposed to happen. There's always something going on where, look at YNW Melly. That guy's been locked up since 2019 for murder. And that's crazy. We're in 2026. This guy had a mistrial and is still locked up for that without officially being charged. He's already served, 7 years? And he hasn't been officially charged of anything. Well, technically 6 because 2025 just ended, but 2026 would make it 7 years, which is crazy. But that's what happens with these things. Let's go over the article. Lil Durk's federal murder for hire trial will now kick off in the spring after a California judge granted a continuance on Monday. According to court documents obtained by Complex, the trial was originally scheduled to begin on January 20th, but it will now start on May 4th. Before then, a pretrial conference will commence on April 13th. The court cited an enormous amount of evidence that will have to be reviewed as the reason for the delay. There are reportedly hundreds of gigabytes of digital material to sift through before the trial can begin. The case is so unusual and so complex due to the nature of the prosecution and the number of defendants that it is unreasonable to expect preparation for pretrial proceedings or for the trial itself within the time limits established by the Speedy Trial Act, read the document. Durk and his team argued against the delay despite every other defendant wanting more time to prepare. He's been behind bars since October 2024 when authorities arrested him in Florida on charges of conspiracy, murder for hire, and firearm use in a violent crime. What's more crazy is that he spent 4 months in solitary confinement. Lil Durk's lawyer Christy O'Connor says the rapper has been in solitary confinement for 4 months. In a new motion filed in court on Tuesday, Durk's legal team claimed jail officials are severely punishing him for allegedly having an Apple Watch behind bars. They suggest the move is a violation of his constitutional rights, as authorities put him there without process. Lil Durk is confined to a very small jail cell, just large enough for a single bed, a toilet, and a sink for 23 hours a day, the filing reads. He does not have access to commissary. He is permitted 1 phone call a month and no in-person social visits. They go on to cite the well-documented and I don't know what the hell that word is, I'm going to be honest, deleterious effects on an inmate's psychological well-being from being in solitary confinement for long stretches of time. Durk's team cites a study from the American Public Health Association titled Psychological Distress in Solitary Confinement, Symptoms, Severity, and Prevalence in the United States. They say it reveals clinically significant symptoms of depression, anxiety, or guilt, disproportionately high rates of serious mental illness and self-harming behavior, and social isolation, loss of identity, and sensory hypersensitivity among inmates in solitary confinement as compared to general population. Mr. Banks' defense team has a growing concern that his prolonged solitary confinement may implicate the Eighth Amendment's prohibition on cruel and unusual punishment. The filing continues. You know what's crazy? Yeah, solitary confinement is literally, you have to be mentally extremely strong not to go insane. So imagine you in your bathroom for 23 hours a day. That's basically what solitary confinement is. That's it. 23 hours a day, no communication at all with anybody. You're there 23 hours a day. You get out for 1 hour to do whatever you want. And even here, you can't even do whatever you want. They're just literally walking around with, going outside to play basketball quick for that hour. But at least if you were like locked in your bathroom for 23 hours, for that 1 hour, you could do whatever you want. You can go drive, go do whatever you want for that hour. But imagine that, doing that for straight 4 months. I really don't know how, God never put me in that situation, because I just don't know how I'd deal with that. That is mentally one of the toughest things anyone has to go through. And Lil Durk is going through that for 4 fucking months. Now, I don't know if he's guilty or not, but to go through that just for having an Apple Watch is insane. I can understand him put him in there for like a month. Even that's crazy, but 2 weeks to a month. But that is insane, man. Like, just imagine, just you know what? I don't condone this, but try. If you're one day just chilling at your house, try staying in your bathroom with nothing, with not your phone, anything. Just chill in your bathroom for like 30 minutes during the day. Don't do this at night. During the day, just 30 minutes with no. Just don't shower. Don't do nothing that has activity, because that's basically solitary confinement. You really don't got anything in there. You'd be lucky if you got a book, but just nothing. Just chill in there for 30 minutes and see if you can handle that. Now imagine 22 hours and 30 more minutes of that. I think anybody would go insane. I think anybody would have some type of mental things, but they're saying they got insane evidence for this guy, man. That's why they pushed the trial back. So I don't know if they got really that crazy substantial evidence. Lil Durk, there's no way Lil Durk is getting out of this. Unless Lil Durk can lead to more gang, members and get more people locked up, which is essentially snitch and cooperate, which he said he hates rats. I mean, I watched a recent, actually, this wasn't a recent interview. It was when he appeared on DJ Academics' Off the Record podcast. And they were talking about 6ix9ine. He's like, I hate rats. The reason why he hates rats is because his dad served a lot of time because somebody snitched on his dad. And he never got, he never grew up with his father because his father was locked up for a lot of his life. Yeah, so he's somebody that I don't see as a snitch. I don't think he's going to snitch because his dad got locked up for that. So if his dad decided to do the time without snitching or doing any other, things like that, then he's going to do the same thing. I think Lil Durk knew this was coming. That's why, he started to change his image up and make records like All My Life, which is still a great record. He just started to switch his whole thing up and start meeting with politicians in Chicago and, try to stop the gang violence. He did that because he knew they were tracking on him, and that, that's like the best he could do to try to change his image. Maybe then when he gets locked up, that He can say, hey, this guy was doing great. He was, meeting with these community leaders and trying to make things, that's what's going to be painted as the picture for his defense. His defense is going to say, listen, Lil Durk is this multi-millionaire rapper. He's not this guy that you guys are painting out to be, like this gang member. Look, he was meeting with politicians before he got locked up. Look, he was giving back to the community. Look, he made a record talking about All My Life, and all these kids are just chilling, having fun with them. With J. Cole, J. Cole is the most friendliest guy ever, guys. Come on. That's really what's going to be the defense here. But if there's hard evidence, which they're suggesting is the case, there's really nothing. I'd be surprised, man. If there's stuff that can link Durk, like, directly, oh, he's fucked. Like, there's no way he's getting out. But we'll see what happens, man. Speaking of J. Cole, I just wanted to talk about this. I didn't have this in the news. I actually didn't talk. I wanted to talk about this earlier, but kind of forgot. There are rumors going around that J. Cole's Fall Off album is coming out this Friday. Actually Thursday night, but by the time you guys watch this podcast episode, it will be Thursday night if you watch it on the day of release of the podcast. So I don't know if that's coming out. I will definitely check it out. I would love to do a live stream, but these things just come out so fucking late. I don't feel like staying up till 12, and then by the time you listen to it, it's like 1:30 at night too. So it's a lot of, you're up really late, which I'm not a fan of anymore. I don't like doing that at all. But there's also reports that Drake's Iceman album is dropping this Friday. So I don't know if this is true, but if it happens where J. Cole is dropping the Fall Off and Drake is dropping Iceman, we finally get a first week sales battle for the first time in a long time of two big named artists. Like, if they are planning to do that, I would love for them to do like a 50 and Kanye West type of thing where they, go head to head. And I think that would be cool, man. I think that should have been recreated by somebody at this point. I think that would be really cool. Have Drake and J. Cole go head to head sales battle because they're the cream of the crop, man, in terms of sales right now. That's the best you're going to get in hip hop. Kendrick, Drake, and Cole. You got Travis Scott there. You got a couple artists here and there, but those three are usually the ones that, bring in consistent numbers every time they release. So I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying that's a rumor or people are saying. I'm excited for it if it's going to happen, but we'll see as time goes on. Continuing on, 6ix9ine has officially turned himself in. I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. I miss this guy's trolling online. Like, he's made a great comeback, whether you guys like it or not. Musically, his music don't hit like it once did, but when it comes to like clips that I watch him, and he says some real shit. I'm not going to lie. He says some real shit, and a lot of people, don't like that, I guess, or people just feel like, who's this guy? Here's the issue with 6ix9ine, right, that people are mad about, is he snitched. I'm not a street guy. I don't give a fuck if you snitch or not. That's just the gist of it. It doesn't affect, it's not I'm not a street guy. I have nothing to do with the streets, whether you snitch or not. Is your music good? Cool. That's it. That's all I care about. I get it if like street guys don't like him, but other than that, 99% of people aren't street people like that. It's not like that big of a deal that people are like, oh, he's a snitch, I'm not gonna listen to this rat. Okay, cool. I guess. High five. I don't know what's, get a cookie or something. Let's go over this article. 6ix9ine has officially turned himself in to begin his 3-month prison sentence for violating the terms of his supervised release. He arrived at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York on Tuesday. Adam Ross brought him to the facility, turning the trip into a live stream event. Thank you guys so much. See you in 3 months. Heart emoji 6ix9ine wrote in a final Instagram post as caught by XXL. 6ix9ine's current legal predicament dates all the way back to his infamous federal racketeering case in 2018. He testified against his associates at the time, helping him get a reduced sentence. When he got out of prison, however, he remained supervised release. Just 6 months away from the terms of expiring, he was arrested after authorities discovered drugs at his home in Florida. He later pleaded guilty to possession. In a post on social media earlier this week, 6ix9ine confirmed he'll be staying alongside several other famous inmates at MDC Brooklyn last weekend. The U.S. military captured Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia, in Venezuela and brought them to New York. That's when they got captured, yeah. Yeah, so Diddy used to be there. R. Kelly used to be there. But yeah, that's it. He turned himself in. I'll play the clip. Let me see. Actually, it's copyrighted, so I'm not going to play the clip. They're playing Locked Up. It won't let me out. Convict music. That's what they're playing. Shout out to Akon. But yeah, man, he said some real shit, I think in the Say Cheese interview, and he was like, me serving these 3 months, it happens for a reason. Everything in your life, whether good or bad, happens for a reason. He's like, every little millisecond is for a specific reason. He's like, if I was out and about, maybe those 3 months, maybe I go to a gas station, somebody pulls out a gun and kills me. Maybe God is taking you out of certain situations and moving you around so you don't get killed or something happens to you. And the way, he was explaining that, he was like, what did he say? He said like, oh, this interview could end earlier and I could go and a car could just randomly hit me. But if the interview goes a little bit longer, that car that got into that potential accident, doesn't hit me or hit somebody else, whatever the case may be. But I do agree to a certain extent that every part of your life, there's reasons why bad and good things happen, to a certain extent. I don't think everything is like pre-planned, but I do believe that the good and the bad that happens to you are for reasons, is for lessons to be learned, whether good or bad. And I don't think, at least I don't regret anything in my life. I think everything pans out to be the way it's supposed to be. So I have no regrets in my life. That I don't think anybody else should, really, to be honest with you. Yeah, is there moments where it was like, I should have done this, that, but I thought about those moments and I was like, nah, man, like that's the way it's supposed to be. This is where I'm at right now. I did it for a reason. At that moment, I actually wanted to do that potentially, So that's the thing, is like, don't ever feel bad about certain moments in your life. Sometimes in that moment, you wanted to do that and you fulfilled what you wanted to do in that moment. So you can't go in the future and be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. Right? Yeah, he just worded that really well. But he has these interviews where he just keeps it real, man. And I think a lot of people are starting to relate to that. He's funny as well. He's just a naturally funny person. And that, that goes through the camera and people love it and, all that stuff. I wish I was as funny because I feel like I'm just not that funny. I think people that are close to me think I'm funny, but I don't know, maybe just on camera I'm not as funny. I don't know. People are saying, oh, your voice is like monotone. It's pretty boring. I'm like, I remember when I first started YouTube, motherfuckers were saying that all the time. Like, your voice is monotone, bro. You're boring. Add some enthusiasm. And as the years went on, I just like naturally added more enthusiasm, which was crazy. I didn't do it like because of the comments. I think I just got used to how it's like, if you go to my first videos, like it's like, hey guys, how's your boys? Your boy Quake. Yeah, so J. Cole dropped me. Like, it was just more, I get what people are saying, because when I go back to those old videos, I need to re-record a lot of those documentaries, man, and redo them. Like 50 versus Ja Rule. There's so much more that I can add to it, because a lot more footage has come out as the years has gone on. So those documentaries, I really want to redo. My voice has gotten better in terms of recording. I use a better mic now, obviously. So yeah, that needs to happen down the line. I still want to do newer documentaries, obviously, but that will happen down the line in the future. I'm going to redo those. What I get mad at myself for is adding those social medias to those videos, because they're like on there. They're forever plastered on there. So if I change my social media handle, like, those are useless. So that's why I don't do that now in the new documentaries. I don't add any of those stuff. It's pretty, or at least if I do add it, I save a raw video file without any of that stuff. Like, for example, for these interviews that I released, there's a diverse mentality logo in the top right, but the raw video files I saved don't have that, So like, if I ever need to not use that, or, I have the raw files without it. But those documentaries, I don't have the raw files of without that stuff. At the time, that's just what I felt, to promote myself, blah, blah, blah. That's what I felt to do. I regret that. So that's why I don't do it anymore. Because things change. I might change my username, and then people are going to see that from years ago and be like, oh, let me find him there, and he's not there, and so on and so forth. And those videos are really old, man. We're going on like, I don't know, 7-8 years. I mean, I've been doing YouTube since April of 2017 is when I started. So in April of 2027 will be officially 10 years of doing this. That's crazy. You know how fast time flies, man? 10 fucking years. So that means, because this year I turned 31, next year I'll turn 32. So I started this YouTube shit when I was 22 years old. That's when I started the YouTube stuff. That's crazy. That is insane to think about. But I'm glad, man. In my 20s, I really built something with a solid foundation. Now in my 30s, I'm going to try to build more on it. And yeah, so it's really, really great. I just entered my 30s last year. So, cheers to that. And hopefully we keep building and you guys keep joining, keep watching, and keep listening. I appreciate it as always. Sorry, I went on this whole rant on this stuff, but yeah, I get randomly talking about this stuff. Let's continue. And Diddy's employees have decided to basically, say, hey, where the fuck is our money? Because he's locked up. So let's go over this. Several of Diddy's employees have not been getting paid as the bad boy mogul remains behind bars following his conviction for transportation to engage in prostitution, according to a new report from TMZ. Citing sources with direct knowledge of the situation, the outlet says the management firm TriStar Sports and Entertainment has been handling Diddy's finances for the time being. They've reportedly been stingy about sending out payments to attorneys, handling some of Diddy's civil lawsuits, as well as various other staffers. One of the employees has quit over the delay in payments. Additionally, TMZ reports that TriStar Sports and Entertainment has limited Diddy's family to set a budget. They aren't granting them unrestricted access to his finances. Despite the report, a representative for Diddy shot down the idea of anyone not getting paid. People, personnel, and attorneys are all being paid and no one is leaving, Judah Engelmeyer said. Before adding, Sean Combs controls his own finances. Everyone gets paid for their work once it's completed and confirmed after a routine review. I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like that's Diddy, man. Because Diddy has been reported to not fucking pay people, man. Cut them checks, Diddy, man. There's people out here that are struggling, and you out here blowing all this money on fucking flying women out and doing freaky shit to them. By the way, I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast. Diddy has a micro penis. It all makes sense. I know it's random for me to say, but Diddy has a micro penis. There's a guy that went on Vlad with proof. Apparently, he was a male escort that 50 Cent's baby mama, Daffy Joy, who was with Diddy at the time, she's the one that reached out to him, invited him to have fun with Diddy and her. And it turns out he revealed that Diddy has a micro penis. I think he said 3 inches, something like that. No homo. But yeah, it all makes sense. That all makes sense now of why he sits in the corner and watches other men please his women. Because he feels he can't do the same with the micro penis. Yep, that makes all, like, throughout all this time, I was like, why would a guy sit in the corner and watch another man doing stuff to his girl? Why? What would be the reason? You know, I never crossed my mind of him having a micro penis. I just, and usually black people, they get that stigma of they got no homo, big packages, right? So it just never crossed my mind. I was like, how? Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, he has a micro 3-inch Punisher. And the guy was like, Diddy told him one time that I can give my girl anything in the world. He was like, anything that she wants at any moment, but I can't give her that. And he actually pointed to his, ding-a-ling down there. And that's crazy, man. That is crazy. And I actually watched that interview and I was like, what the fuck? And he had video of it. He had photos. And I don't think I talked about it on the podcast. I don't remember if I did or not. But yeah, man, Diddy, pay your people, and don't be ashamed of your little micro thing. But you're a piece of shit, so probably that's what's crazy is some people, they have it all, right? I would never trade my life for Diddy's. I don't care that all that money he's got, all that fame, for a micro penis. No, you tell me right now, I get a micro penis or I get hundreds of millions of dollars. If I have to get hundreds of millions of dollars, I have to have a micro penis. I'll automatically say no. I'd rather be broke, because that's tough, man. That's tough. Let's just say that. But yeah, this is insane. It was crazy to read all that stuff, man, when I was reading that. But yeah, pay your fucking employees, Diddy, because a lot of people are out here struggling. You're out here blowing $200 million, baby. I could wire you. In the documentary how you said that shit. I was like, you piece of shit. You're out here starving other people, but you got $200 million to wire a girl. Crazy. A lot is going on when it comes to the Jim Jones and Cameron beef saga. And this time, it's really hard to pinpoint where exactly things are getting crazy at again, because Jim Jones has been doing a lot of interviews addressing, Cameron, and at one point saying Mace was disrespectful towards Cameron and how could you work with him? And he's going on different interviews and podcasts talking more things about Cameron. While Cameron, for the most part, has kept his mouth shut, he's responded here and there, but it seems like right now he's had enough of it. Cameron took to his Instagram page and posted an image that says, "How you worried about me when your heat off and your rent due?" And in the caption, he said this: "Heard it was 7 degrees in the Bronx last night," and then a bunch of laughing emojis. With this post, it's really hard to tell who he's talking about, but immediately Jim Jones jumped in the comments and decided to disrespect Cameron, and Freaky Zeke got involved with a bunch of laughing emojis, and then Cameron and Jim Jones went back and forth in the comments, and then even 50 Cent got involved clowning Jim Jones because Now the beef with 50 and Jim Jones has fully escalated from Tony Yayo to 50, and Cameron and Jim Jones haven't seen eye to eye in a long time. Let's go in the comments and see what Jim Jones had said, what Cameron said in response, and 50 Cent's 2 cents, and we'll talk about what we can expect moving forward. So Jim Jones commented a few things, and they're all separately, not in one comment. He said, "Your whole crew is soft. Do your shoe, punk. A block, no, you soft." He continued, he said, "You want to play, pull up, and let the people see how soft you are, chump." He commented again, "You soft." Freaky, which is Freaky Zeke, "You soft too," which Freaky responded to. And yeah, Cameron decided to respond to all of that in the comments. He was with that smoke. He said this to one of the comments where he says, "Your shoe, do your shoe, punk." Cameron responded saying, "What's wrong, Capo? You heat off too. I ain't know. Is hate for you to be 50 years old with no heat?" Basically, probably meant I'd hate for you to be 50 years old with no heat. "What's your Zell, bro? I got you," with a bunch of laughing emojis. He then responded to a block, no, you soft comment and said, "Yeah, but my heat on and I'm worn. And I'm warm. You 50 years old, tough and cold. But dead ass though, Capo, you heat off for real." Other comments where Jim Jones said, "You want to play, pull up. Let the people see how soft you are, chump." Cameron responded saying, "Jomo, you 50 and still want to pull up. I got the video of you breaking in your own studio trying to trigger the heat system and chasing your landlord around in his car because he want his rent. You are 50. Go pull up on that heat bill." Then the Freaky comment where Jim Jones goes at Freaky Zeke. Freaky responds, says, "Jim Jones, Capo, was I soft in Detroit when guys was getting at us and you was using me as a shield?" And then he tagged Trick, which is interesting. He says Trick was there. 50 then posted all those responses as he would on his Instagram page and decided to add in his 2 quarters. And the first thing he posted was Cameron's "You heat off and your rent due." And in the caption he said, "Damn, I hope you can all chip in and get that heat back on." Then he posted all the back and forth that Cameron had with Jim Jones in his images. And he said, "Damn, Jim mad with all this pressure. I hope he is all right. Cam is laughing at him. LOL, maybe they can start a fire and all stand around it." Continuing on, more posts were made, and this was from 50 Cent. He posted a video of them eating what it looks like at their podcast studio or warehouse, and a lot of people are heavy dressed, meaning that they're probably cold, and they're eating their food, and there's a funny wind sound effect in the background with no heat plastered on the video.
Brown chicken.
That's about it. Just got his plate. You're about to tap in.
I'm about to tap in.
Yeah, I need the honest review.
I got collard green juice going down my hand.
50 said in the caption, "Damn it, man, it's cold as a bee over there, huh? F it, you cool, LOL." Continuing on, then Cameron trolled Jim Jones more and posted a video of how to make basically like a bonfire, but it's like in a trash can fire. And in the caption, he said, "I'm just trying to help." From there, then Jim Jones responded and he showed his warehouse studio that he allegedly bought or owns. And in the caption, he said, "Thank you for the free promo. The ICB factory will be open to all creatives very soon. We working while we working. This is just one side of the facility. You ain't seen nothing yet. God is good." So check out that video.
Since I'm starting the year off at the top of your Explorer, are you not entertained? Since everybody want to put my business in the street, I will talk to you about my business. Right now I am in the second phase of construction, and we're not open to public. This is a raw space. I have not found out yet what I want to do exactly in this space, but in my mind, I was thinking of building like a little mart, but we'll see how that goes. Pull up, look. Show you what we'll be doing. I'm building a multi-purpose content creation facility for media, fashion, music, and broadcasting. We have a boutique in here, a boutique. We almost finished the loading, almost fresh. The barbershop. That'll be done. Come on with it. I love free promo. As you can see, it's an open space. This is actually a studio. It's almost done. It's gutted right now, so don't hold nothing against me. show you. Little construction, old shit coast paper, you heard? Don't want nobody to think I'm in here, you know what I mean? It's crazy because, what you doing? The young boys usually be back there. The young boys don't feel no temperature, all they feel is opportunity. They still be here working in the midst of us working. So we still in the midst of construction. Got a few things we're gonna be doing out here. We'll be another studio we putting over here. Bodega, nice little fun street to film on, do broadcast. And it's not even half of it. We got a whole nother half to film on. But what I'm trying to say is I've been happy to be able to invest in myself and something that I know is going to help a lot of other people. I'm not building this facility for myself. Yes, it is a business move. That's why I invested in myself. But I'm building this facility for all creators and young ones that's trying to come up to be a creator or have a creative ability that they want to know how to double down on. It's like an excellent school for all the fly people, if you say so yourself. So, you know, I appreciate the promo. I love free promo. You know, I ain't gonna miss a beat. You did? It's cold in here. I love y'all, man.
And then from there, Freaky Zeke decided to respond to Jim Jones with his own video. And in the caption, he said, "Jim Jones, it's a sad look for you when you're trying to come at me."
Oh, really? Oh, really? Now you putting this on the gram? Everybody know.
Toughest and Dipset is Freaky Zeke by far. It's not even close.
You're reaching now, coming at me. You need to be reaching for some kerosene. You need to be reaching for some coals. You need to be reaching for 2 rocks to strike them shits together. I ain't even mad at you, brother. I am mad at the choices you make, though. Because those are all choices of what make, nigga. You can't afford to pay your rent and your heat bill. It's warm over here. It's warm over here. You know what, Jomo? Yeah, you're acting like a Jomo-sexual. Acting like a Jomo-sexual. Calm down.
First, Jim Jones has been having financial issues. He's had them for a while. His one of his houses got foreclosed on. And then 50 revealed, obviously, them having issues paying rent. So there could be some truth to this. And Cameron says he has a video of him trying to turn the heat on, and it's not turning on. So I don't know if that just might be the heat's bad in the building, and it just doesn't turn on, or he didn't pay his bill. It's one of those two things at the end of the day. Because sometimes, you know, I've had, in my old office, I've had the heat go out. And I tried turning it on, it just doesn't work. And that doesn't mean I didn't pay the bill. It's just the building's old, the heat doesn't work. So it could be that, or it could be, you know, he didn't pay the bill. And if that's the case, then yeah, Jim Jones is in a very bad situation in his life financially. It's unfortunate because, you know, he had a huge record, man, at a certain point, and he has at least a good brand behind him with Dipset and has used that to a certain extent to elevate his status and his name. But it looks like it's not looking good. I mean, 50 exposed the whole rent thing, and he actually showed audio of the actual owner of the building, you know, talking about they're behind $180,000. And this is what I say with when it comes to the Let's Rap About It podcast, right? Fabolous should not be associated with these guys. And it's no disrespect to Mano, Jim Jones, or Dave East, but Fabolous is at a different level, different tier. I don't understand why he ever decided to do a podcast with all of them. I think a lot of artists that do podcasts, podcasts, end up just doing it for a brief amount of time. They get their money, they get their advance, whatever it is for the podcast, and they don't care anymore. I've seen so many artist podcasts come and go. It's really ridiculous. And a lot of these artists, they get this lump sum money up front, and you know they sign a contract for 2 seasons, 3 seasons of the podcast, maybe 1 season. And that's it. They don't really care about, you know, the back end and building a brand. They're not a Joe Budden, for example. Joe Budden didn't take any lump sum money up front. He started something from scratch, built it, and took his time with it. A lot of these artists just get signed to these like media companies who give them upfront money for that time being, and they just take the upfront money. They run with however long they can run with the podcast, and that's it. And it dies out after that. So I'm not really a fan of artist podcasts because they don't really last. And And there's only so much you can do to a certain extent. There's only so many people you can interview and so many conversations you can have. But, I'm not saying anything about a Let's Rap About It podcast. I don't listen to it, but there is just them four. There's really no guests. So I guess it's a little bit easier that way. But having four people on a podcast, that means you guys are splitting the pie at least four different ways if there's not something behind the scenes where someone's getting a cut. So it's going to be a lot harder on that end. But that's just the business side of the podcast world. I mean, I've seen it. I'm not the biggest podcast in the world ever, but I've seen deals being offered. I've seen, things behind the scene, and I kind of understand the space, a little bit better than the average person. But every deal is different. Everything's structured differently. But who knows, man? I hope Jim Jones gets back on his feet. I hope he really mends these relationships, man. It's not a good look for him. It's not going to look good on his brand at all. And Cameron and 50 are cool again, and they're trolling the hell out of Jim Jones, and it's not looking good. But we'll see what happens moving forward. 50 Cent has given the people that have dissed him on wax, from Fabolous to Mano to Jim Jones to now even Papoose, an ultimatum. And if they can meet that ultimatum, he will respond in the booth. Yes, he said it himself. He will respond in the booth only if they can do this. So let's go over this. First, let me break down a little bit of the history. I don't want to go over it too much because I've already broken down this in other videos. So basically how all this started was Fabolous, Mano, Jim Jones, and Dave East have a Let's Rap About It podcast. On that podcast, they talk about documentaries. On the topic of documentaries, they said if the guy isn't involved in the documentary that's being documented about, it is a corny documentary. It's a mockumentary is what Jim Jones said. 50 took that personal because his Diddy Netflix documentary came out, and he decided to call them out and basically revealed that they owed $250,000 in rent for their podcast studio where they record their podcast. And they're basically, squatters. Squatters is people who stay in buildings or houses who don't pay any rent or anything. Then what ended up happening was on Christmas Day, they decided to go in a studio and rap over 50 Cent's beats. And Fabolous was the one who actually went the hardest at 50. Dave East didn't really diss 50. Mano, took some disses here and there. Jim Jones as well. But Fabolous was the main one. And then everybody put pressure on 50 to respond in the studio. And from there, 50 decided to make a New Year's post and said, hey, I'll come out to play once I'm done with all the work that I have to do for New Year's night, because he was at 3 different locations for New Year's. After that, people have been saying, where's the music, 50? Where's the music? Are you ever going to respond to Fabolous? So on and so forth. Well, through there, what ended up happening is 50 posted a video. So this post and delete was trolling Papoose and Clarissa following the video of Remy and Papoose allegedly at the same fur store on Christmas. In the video, it's basically a relationship video where they're just trolling each other. And then in the caption says, now you see that's assault. You can't just go around putting your hands on people. LOL, Happy New Year. From there, though, 50 deleted that. But obviously, Papoose caught wind of that, and Papoose decided to go off on 50 and actually went on him pretty aggressively with AI, which is unfortunate. A lot of times this AI video stuff is getting crazy, but he decides to make a funny video of 50 essentially dancing in a girl outfit and at a strip club area. And then the caption says, no, stop deflecting, Curtis. The world is still waiting for your response to Fab and them. You from Southside, do something, fight or flight. Holla if you need a ghostwriter chump. And then from there, 50 responded, and he said, he posted that AI video, and 50 said this: look at what Pat posted, ha ha ha. That looked like one of his joints. All his hoes handsome, they tougher than him, LOL, which is a crazy thing to say. Papoose then responded with another AI video of 50 dancing around. And then he said in the caption, why everybody keep comparing 50 to a bitch? Is it because he gossips so much? Why he still ain't respond to Let's Rap About It? He know he ain't nice for real. Go apologize to Banks, chump. You need him right now. Papoose then followed that up with 50 Cent's former baby mama, not the one with the Diddy situation, but his first one. He put a long caption saying, since you want to post cap, we gonna post facts. Corner boy, translation, boo-boo, the fool was a bum before rap. This guy was taking packs on Guy or Brewer. What type of gangster lie about how many times they got shot? He said he lied because he wanted to get shot more times than Tupac. Alexa, play What the Helly by Rob 49. This guy, more of a wankster than I thought he was. You hit this black queen while she was pregnant. You abused this black queen. You wife Daphne Joy. Our sisters aren't good enough for you. Cancel culture Question mark. From there, 50 actually responded to Papoose again, and he actually used my image that I made, the verse mentality, and it was 50 Cent in the Club surpassing 2 billion streams on Spotify. So he took that, my post, and then he posted in the caption saying, "This just in, LOL. I know I'd be making these guys mad. It is what it is. If you was nice, people would buy your music. Your shit is trash, fool." He then followed that up with a video of Remy Ma. And in the caption, he said, "Wait, I thought he spit the best bars. That's why Clarissa bought her own Louis Vuitton for Christmas." The video is Remy Ma talking about how her ex, which was Papoose, has the least amount of income. He doesn't make no money at all. So check out the video.
My ex might be the least income making person that I've ever been with.
Don't nobody fall in love faster than somebody with nowhere to stay. The fuck?
From here, and this is where we get to 50's response of what these rappers need to do in order for 50 to get in the booth to respond. Papoose decides to preview a potential 50 Cent diss track. In the caption, he said, "Best ever, the untouchable Papoose. If you feel something, kill something." 50 then posted that Papoose diss track, and in the caption, he said, "What the f? I can't get jiggy with this shit. LOL, y'all trash. Make one song that can sell and I'll come play. Y'all still trying to sell music, right?" So there you go. There's your reason why 50 isn't going in the booth to respond. So following that, though, which is interesting, is Papoose revealed that that video was from December 5th, 2025. And in the caption, he said, "He's paranoid. Look at him responding to a video I originally posted December 5th. He started this fake beef January 1st. Got him. A song that can sell. This is real hip hop. Something you know nothing about. When the last time you made a hit, though, Curtis?" So he did reveal it was an old track, but even I fell for it because I don't know what a new Papoose song is. I haven't listened to Papoose. I don't listen to Papoose. So he's just kind of proven his point that people don't really check for his music. People are assuming what he previewed in the video was new because people don't really listen to Papoose. So basically what he was doing is trying to promote his own music by posting that up right now while he's beefing with 50 because he's probably getting no motion in music. I mean, we looked at the Spotify monthly listeners. This guy's got 170,000 to 164,000, 170,000 at best. That's it. 50 Cent is at 40 plus million. I think 45 million or 47 million, something like that. That's like a high school player with some cool little highlights challenging LeBron James to a one-on-one. At what point does that make any sense? Why would you take out any time to respond to this guy? But it is what it is. That's just, people don't understand that. And 50 at a certain point is right. Papoose is saying, you haven't made a hit record in a long time, but at least 50's music, his old music, is still streaming. He just did 2 billion streams on Spotify off In the Club. 2 billion. And for people that say that's the only hit record he has, Candy Shop's over 1 billion. PIMP's over 1 billion. He has a bunch of records that are about to reach over 1 billion. And by the way, there are only 300 songs on Spotify that have reached over 2 billion streams on there. 300 songs only of all genres, not just hip hop, all genres. And 50's up there. And that's an old 2003 song. So I would rather be in 50's career. I think anybody with a brain would. Would you rather be a guy who can spit bars? Okay, cool. You can rap. That's not the only thing of music and hip hop. I get it. The roots of it is, but we're not at the roots of it. You have to have some type of business sense. You have to have some type of, to promote your music, or else nobody's going to know what the fuck you're doing. You can rap your ass off all you want, but that doesn't matter. It's not just about bars. It's about song structure as well. And anyone would take 50's career over Papoose, over Fabolous, over Mano, over Jim Jones, over Davies. He's right. You guys need to sell some records, be relevant, musically, in order for 50 to even try to take out time to jump in the booth, because it doesn't benefit him. If he jumps in the booth right now, what does that do for him? Nothing. When he was in his prime, he was responding to everybody. Now he doesn't have to. He's past his prime. He's working on June at Films and Television. He's got millions of other things to do. Last thing he cares about is going to make music at this point. It's sad to say, do I want him to respond musically? Yes. Of course I do. That's how I became a fan of 50, is through his music. But 50 is not in that state anymore. We're in 2026. It's not that 50 anymore where he gets in the studio, responds on wax and all these diss tracks. And he doesn't have to respond to these guys. If it was like a Drake dissing him or somebody where like it would make sense for him to take out time, I'd be like, all right, yeah, this is beneficial. Why not do it? But all this does is benefit them. Look at that. The second 50 started beefing with Papoose, Papoose started promoting his own music and posting his music online because he wasn't getting any motion before that. Nobody cared about a Papoose song that was coming out before that. Yeah, maybe he has 164,000 fans that he has that listen to him monthly, but that's like so minuscule versus 50 and how many fans he has that listen to his music. It's so minuscule. It's like the smallest. You need Papoose's streams or monthly listeners. Like it needs to be 1,000 times multiple, or at least 400. No, I don't even know what the math on it. It's like, let me see. 10 would be a million at least. So yeah, so about 45. I don't know. I'm doing a horrible math. I'm not even going to attempt it. But yeah, like 45 to 100 times of Papoose's streaming numbers just to get to 50. And that's just on Spotify. We're not talking Apple Music, YouTube, any of that. So what are we talking about here? But that's my take on it. I think 50's kind of moved on from it. It's easier to make an Instagram post than to actually go in the studio and write these bars. But hey, at least in his prime, 50 was responding to people and giving people bars and taking on whoever wanted to go at him. But he's past that, and I don't like it. I wish he would get in the booth and respond, but hey, that time has passed, and I think anybody expecting him to go back in there, it's kind of delusional at this point, But yeah, I think Fabolous is the only one who deserves a response. Fabolous cooked him. That's about it. The rest of these guys, nah, man, it's not even worth it. Now, at least Fabolous has like 4.5 or almost 5 million monthly listeners on Spotify. He's got a couple of hit records, So to him, it makes more sense to engage with Fabolous than it does anybody else, because it's just benefiting them. If 50 responded to them on Wax, they're just benefiting from it. 50 gains no benefit from it. So why would he take out the time to do it? But yeah, that's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think. And that's 50's ultimatum. Make hit records, Papoose. Make hit records, Dave East. Make hit records, Fabolous. Make hit records, Jim Jones and Mano. Because they haven't had hit records in a long time. Yeah, 50 hasn't either, but at least 50's music is still going crazy. And people are still streaming it. And people are still buying it. People are still watching it on YouTube. So that is a huge ultimatum, man. But I don't know if Papoose can make a hit record. That's a really good question. It's been a long time, and he hasn't made a single hit record ever in his career. That's my take on it. I agree. Make a hit record, and maybe you can get 50 in the booth to respond to you and help you with your career. But yeah, let's see what happens moving forward. Let's get to the Billboard Hot 100, and Taylor Swift is back at number 1 after all these Christmas records. The Fate of Ophelia, number 1. Number 2 is Golden Hunter X. Number 3 is Ordinary. Alex Warren. Number 4 is Olivia Dean, Man I Need. Number 5 is Choosing Texas, Elia Lengi. Number 6 is Folded, Kalani. Number 7 is Back to Friends, Somber. Number 8 is Opal Lights, Taylor Swift. Number 9 is Mutt, Leon Thomas. And number 10 is Daisies, Justin Bieber. Oh, wow. Pooh Shiesty, FDO, First Day Out, is at number 12. Last week it was at number 53. Damn, he's got a hit record on his hands. Pooh Shiesty is back. Shout out to Pooh Shiesty, man. And what I like about this record is he shits on the Corvettes, the C80s. And I'm going to explain why, because I'm a car guy. Every fucking time with my car, when I'm driving it, and I drive an Audi R8. Every time I'm driving it, which I don't drive it often, but whenever I do, there's a C8 Corvette that comes next to me, revs their engine, tries to race me. It's like, bro, like a C8 Corvette is a nice car. Don't get me wrong. It's a good car. But it's not a supercar. I want to make that very clear. It is not a supercar because it doesn't meet the criteria as a supercar. There's a few things that meet the criteria as a supercar, and price is one of them. And that car is nowhere near price the supercar price. You got to have a supercar price has to be above, I almost want to say above 100, 150,000, maybe 200,000, somewhere around there. That's a supercar price. And it has to be a certain speed and all this. Yes, the Corvette C8 has a certain amount of speed, which is great. But it's not a supercar. But yeah, they rub their cars, and I'm just like, I'm glad at least Pooh Shiesty shitted on it because I'm getting tired of those people that always do that to me. Continuing on, shout out to Pooh Shiesty. It's a great, he's getting some momentum on that record. He's probably going to have a top 10 hit. So he's going to be right back on the charts where he was, which is dope, man, because he was gone for a while. Chris Brown, It Depends, number 17 with Bryson Tiller. Going down the list, What You Saying, Lil Uzi Vert debuted at number 21. Cool. Looks like a lot more hip-hop stuff is going on there. Gunna, WGFT, number 25. Hell at Night, BX The Plug, number 28. ESD Kid, 4 Raws, number 38. That kid's starting to blow the fuck up, man. It's crazy. NBA Youngboy, Shot Calling, number 48. Take Me Through There, Metro Boomin, number 51. Cardi B, Airtime, number 54. ESD Kid and Rico Ace, Phantom, number 67. Sugar on My Tongue, Tyler, the Creator, number 70. By the way, that 50 Cent Phantom record, I don't know if I talked about it on the last podcast. It was not a good song, man. That Italian artist with 50. Not a good song. 50 doesn't rap crazy on there. I don't know what people are saying. Like 50's, oh, it's the old 50's, come back. No. Let's just keep it what it is. Let's keep it 100. It is not a good song. The verse, like 50's verses nowadays, I can predict it to a T. There's nothing that comes out. It's usually about a female that he's blowing bags on or whatever. He throws in some female bars and then he throws in some gangster shit bars, gun bars, and that's it. And that's all we get for 50. Every time he's featured on a track now. That's it. Go to the Si Salmimo. What does he say? Lamborghini love, Aventador adventures, me street with the trenches. And then what does he say else? My mirror theories, the adore she adore. She want to suck on your boy. Like, it's just the same, like, hoe lyrics of, like, buying hoes, cool shit. And then, what does he say? That's how it go. When we slide, and then he talks about gang shit. That's it. When you outside, moving properly. I forgot how the verse goes. But it's the same shit. It's the same shit that I'm tired of hearing. It's very, like, simple. So anybody giving props to that and saying, oh, 50 killed this shit, and blah, blah, blah. You guys are hyping up the wrong stuff. Okay, if you like the record, whatever, it is what it is. Everybody has their own opinion. For me, it was, just not a good song at all, man. Terrible, actually. I had no interest in it. I heard the song one time, watched the video one time, that's it. I never heard it after that because it's not a good record. But yeah, that's my take. I think I said that on the last podcast, but I just wanted to make it very clear because people were messaging me, what is your take on this Quake, on this record? You haven't said anything about it. Like I said, if I'm silent for a song, and it's one of my favorite artists, that means I just don't fuck with it. Like, don't even expect, I don't fuck with it if I don't say. If I fuck with it, I'll react to it. You'll know on social media. I'll say something. But if it's not a good song and I don't fuck with it, I ain't going to be saying shit. Because I just don't, I don't know. I don't have the nerve to be talking shit about records all the time like other people do. NBA Youngboy, What You Is at number 88. Really cool. Who the fuck is this guy? Headband? Is this a rapper? Boo, number 91. Safe, Cardi B, number 92. NF Fear, number 94. And that is it, man. That's crazy. But yeah, that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, appreciate you guys for supporting Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, YouTube, all that. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.